Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is the next in my series of Armour reviews for patch 9.9 World of Tanks. Today we're looking at the M46 Patton Tier 9 American medium tank, which has, in my opinion, had a severe armour nerf. Let's get into it and have a look. On the right hand side of your screen is the 9.8 pre-recorded version of Tank Inspector, and on the left hand side of your screen is the current 9.9 live version of Tank Inspector. So I'll start playing the replay version on the right, and we'll both colorize these, and I'll try and get the similar sort of an angle somewhere around here. Now those of you who are observant will straight away see some major armor changes to the front of this tank. The lower plate is the same thickness, 76mm, as it was before. There are no changes there, and I believe that the angles are the same there as well. They look very similar to me anyway. I've never driven this tank, but it looks similar to me. Now, the front upper glacis plate here is 102mm, which is the same as it was before. However, glaring weakness, which is this machine gun port, which is only 76mm instead of the 102 it was before. This is odd because nearly all of the other tanks, they are eliminating these weaknesses off the front of the tanks, the machine gun ports and things like that. They are even getting rid of the angling, which you can see here on the old one. It's still got the shadows here from the angling. They're even getting rid of that and just making them flat plates on most of the tanks. So the fact they've actually put this in at a reduced armor value tells me they really wanted to nerf this tank. It must be performing a little bit too well. So that's a major weakness now for light tanks and other people to shoot into that. This plate here, though, has been strengthened. Is now 140 instead of 102. However, I think the reason they've done that is that plate is now actually less angled than it was before. So if I go on here, you can see it was previously bringing up 123mm. It's now coming up as 151, which is an almost 30mm increase, even though the armor has increased by 38mm. That tells me they've probably flattened it a little bit, and for some reason they didn't want that part to be too much of a weakness, and they have buffed that part a little bit. However, these green areas you can see here now on the tank are only 41mm thick, whereas they previously were 102. You couldn't access them from the front. So that you could say is a nerf. However, it's very majorly sloped and is a ricochet. Being 41mm thick, they've been very careful to ensure that 120mm or 122mm guns will not overmatch and so won't be an auto pen. However, a 150mm gun on some tier 10s, I think, and obviously the 183, can still overmatch it and go straight through that area if they're accurate enough. Now, it also has an additional turret ring, which it didn't appear to have before, or certainly wasn't this pronounced before. It is a massive turret ring on this tank now, and I believe it has actually increased the height of the tank, which may also increase the camouflage values of the tank. It is only 102mm and is pretty damn flat, even though I'm not aiming at the middle here. If I line that up precisely and then aim off to the turret ring, it's only coming up as 112mm. Another major weak spot. It is kind of protected in the middle by this area, but just off to the sides, at either side, it's a pretty bad hit zone. So let's continue the recording on the right now. And the front, look, the frontal armor here is pretty much the same at 102mm, and the angling didn't appear too much different to me. It has, I think, increased the height a little bit, which is of course bad if you're looking at a tank with good gun depression. The mantle appears to be the same. It overlays in the same places and it's the same 102mm in the center. That to me doesn't look any different. Before I actually go to the side of the tank though, let me go back a little bit here. You can see the cupola is still 102mm. However, I do believe it has had a bit of a nerf. Let me see if was I looking at the cupola earlier here somewhere? There it was. Get back. Stop playing and get back. Okay, there you go. I'm looking at the top of the cupola. The cupola to me now is, it's heavily sloped at the bottom section and the sloping almost disappears at the top section. So even though it's the same armor, if I get it looking at a similar view, it looks like it almost slopes back to the cupola. I think the top is risen, the top of the tank is higher and it slopes back, top of the turret. I'm not sure, but anyway. You can see here both 102mm. When we're looking at the one on the right here, the old one, we can see it comes up as 176 near the top there. When I look at the new version, it's only coming up as 110. The sloping has definitely reduced and is now a weakness on the tank. And you can tell that the sloping is reduced also when we look at the top of the tank. You'll see that the top of the cupola is larger now than it was before, and that's because there's reduced sloping, so it's not cutting in, and you'll see the top of the cupola is bigger, which confirms, I believe, my opinion. So now we'll move on to the side of the tank. The side of the tank, this armor here is the same thickness as it was before, but it now extends further back, which you'll see in a minute when the replay catches up and we look at the side of the tank there. So that will be good for side scraping. You see here it extends past the turret. On the right hand side there, it does not extend past the turret. So good for side scraping. The armor values at the back are also the same. So I haven't actually changed the armor values, but the it does extend further back now. However, the side of the turret is now weaker. It was 76 millimeters and is now only 64 millimeters on the side of the turret, so that is definitely another nerf to the tank. However, this portion here, this rounded portion here, is still the 76, and this funny looking strip here is still 76. The little blue dot here is only 38 millimeters, but is tiny, and it'll probably be a fluke if anyone hits it. So I'll continue the recording, and I'll move on to the back of the tank. It will catch up. Here we are. The bottom section here is still 19 millimeters. This subsection here is still 31. No changes there. The rear of the turret, however, has also changed. Let me go back a little bit in the replay. I better stop it first. So, okay, so this area here, which was 91 millimeters, is now only 76. Again, another major nerf, because when you're in a tank that relies on being hulled down, you do often, of course, sometimes get hit in the rear of the turret or the side of the turret, because you can't always control the angles you're getting shot from. So I think another major nerf to the tank, dropping from 91 to 76 there. Let's continue on the replay, and I think I'm probably going to go to the top of the tank now. And here you'll be able to see what I was talking about the top of the cupola, that it is larger now, which means that I think it started off pretty much the same size. The fact that it's now larger on the top means it's not sloping as severely in, and is, again, I believe, a major nerf. Now, the top of the turret armor and the top of the cupola armor is still 25 millimeters as it was before, and I think the rear deck was also the same at 22 millimeters, so no change there. I hope you enjoyed that armor review. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun.